Hey, happy filmmaker. We are talking today all about production, what you should be expecting when you're going onto a location for production. There's two parts to this. There's filming in your hometown locally, or there's filming interstate or overseas, because they both have pretty different implications on how you actually manage your schedule and what you're going to achieve on that day. So, kick us off, Mike.
Well, I think one of the big questions that we're going to answer today is how much can I hope to achieve in one day? What's a realistic amount of screen time can I capture for my film in a day?
So I think that, and also how much footage you need to capture with any one story to be able to flesh out that story on screen.
And it's going to be a little bit different from film to film, but let's think about it in terms of screen time minutes, depending on the duration of your film. If I'm spending a whole full day on production, up to, I'd say, above 5 is a pretty good day. If you're getting more than 5 minutes of final screen time, that's a really good yield. But I think anything less than like 3 minutes, you might have, something might have gone wrong, or you might have wasted a bit of time in there. Now, it's not exactly the same for every shoot. Some shoots are more complicated and will take longer to get the material for your screen time. So this is just averages. So if we're trying to get 3 to 5 plus minutes of screen time out of a really productive location shoot day, then we're going to be shooting hours of material, in my opinion. And it's going to be different types of material. It might include some interviews, it might include some establishing shots, some specialty shots, drone shots, B-roll, and actuality unfolding on camera. So it's going to be all different types that come into it during that day. We did a shoot in Sydney earlier this week, and there was a great story there, and it'll be one chapter in a feature film or a standalone short film of about 5 minutes in duration. So in that shoot day, we were able to get some overlay footage of the participant doing ocean swimming, which was really important to her story. We were also able to get a really good multi-camera interview.
And so to create that, we actually filmed, we started at 6:30 in the morning to do the ocean swimming, because they were swimming very early in the morning. And then we went to the person's house and we filmed the interview with them at their home, which was actually really close by. So there wasn't travel requirements really. It was really just, I don't know, maybe a K up the road, and we had a car, so that made it easy. But then the next shoot that we did actually required us to go, it was about probably 30 minutes across Sydney to get to the clinic where we were filming that part of the footage. So by the time we wrapped shooting, so we started about 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and we wrapped on that particular shoot at around, I reckon it was about 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah, short day. What have we got? 4 locations that we tried to cover off, different types of material that we captured. And all of this comes together to give you about 3 to 5 minutes of really high quality screen time. That's a good day out in the field. Now, you mentioned it's a bit different filming in your hometown, and Sydney's not our hometown, compared to shooting in a different state or overseas in a different country. What did you mean by that?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you're shooting interstate, and particularly overseas, is you've got to be so organised, because unlike in your hometown, going to do a pickup or redoing a scene or recapturing something where something went wrong, the sound, lighting, whatever it might have been, it's so much harder. So when we're filming interstate, you have to be incredibly organised. Everything from booking where the accommodation you're going to stay is, to make sure it's like for a 6:30 a.m. start, you don't want to be travelling 45 minutes if you can avoid it. So you're trying to stay.
We booked a hotel right next to the first location.
Yeah, and we were actually able to set up all the gear the night before and just walk it across, which made it so much easier. So there's just so many considerations when you're travelling interstate that you just don't have that same complication when you're shooting at home, because presumably you've got your own car, and you kind of know where stuff is, and you know how long it'll take to get there, and you don't need to book accommodation.
Yeah, that's true. And I think those pickups do get more complicated the more remote you're travelling, the further you're going. So it's good to build that into your production plan as well, so that there's a little bit of time in case something goes wrong and you need to do some pickups, or things don't fall into place exactly the way you'd hoped, so that you can achieve all of that while you're in that location, which might be far, far from home.
The shoot day might actually be a lot longer, because you have to get as much as you can get on the day that you're there, because every day you stay longer costs more money.
Yeah, and I think, guys, just pace yourself as much as you can. When you're out doing location work, I don't know why, but I feel like we always find ourselves in these hot, humid, dusty kind of environments. It's not the only place we shoot. But you're going to get really tired. And as you know, it doesn't just, start and end at a long shoot day. Then you've got to charge all the batteries. You've got to bump the gear out. You've got to copy off all of the media and then duplicate it onto another drive. So they become these kind of epic long days. Normally when we're on the road, I try to keep it to 4-day blocks, because if you go longer than 4 really long days like that, you find that the fatigue really starts catching up with you, and you don't function as well as a filmmaker and things start going wrong. So that's another little tip.
There's a lot of variables, and so that's why just really planning it out before you go, knowing exactly what are those key things you have to capture on that shoot and prioritising the essentials, and then just working through it as best you can.
So what should these guys do if they want to know more, and what's coming up next in the series?
Oh, if you want to know more, well, we've done a whole episode previously on location scouting, so it's probably worth having a look at that. That'll have loads more tips in there. And, subscribe to the channel so that, you don't miss another episode, and you're going to make amazing films.